Okay, this will be a quick video for mainly new users. You'll see it in some of my older videos, but regarding orientation of the parts in how we lay it out in VCarve and how we need to have them set up for when we put a full panel or a large part on the table of the SmartBench. So I'm just going to start from scratch. We're going to open a new job, and I'm going to put in the panel I'm going to work with is a full 4x8 sheet. But visually, if I'm space planning graphics and logos and things like that and text, I need to have it sitting like this so the aspect ratio is correct, the way the sign will be hung, for me to have it make sense in my head. So I'm going to draw it initially 96 by 48 tall, but this is not the way I need to send it to the machine. I'm going to orient off the top of the material for when I touch off my tool, and I'm going to have my material datum, the 0, 0 point, in the bottom left-hand corner. So I'll do all that and tell it okay. So I would quickly put in the text for and apply it. Don't highlight it. If I highlight it and I put text again, it's going to go on it again. I just want to put in another text, but a different size. So I'm going to, rather than 6 inches, I want this to be, say, 4 inches, and then close it. And so I need to say that was my whole sign. And I could have a logo or whatever, it doesn't matter. But for me to visualize how this is going to work and how it should be positioned, I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to highlight that text, and I'm going to go to my Transform Objects, Align Selected Objects. Now I'm going to put it dead in the middle of the page, or I could just say center it on the material in the left and right. So I'm going to do it here, and now it's centered left and right, but I can move it using my arrow keys up and down after I get out of this positioning mode. So it's still highlighted, so I can use my arrow keys and bring it up and down. So I'm going to do this one too, and I'm going to center it left and right, get out of my Transform Objects mode while it's highlighted, use my arrow keys, and put them together so that they're the right way I want it. And then I can take this block of the two different parts, or it could be a logo, a bitmap, or whatever, and then I can say, okay, let's now clean that up and center it dead center. Okay, I've got it. That's the way I want it. That's what I want to cut. So if I were to make my tool paths, and I do those now, so I'm going to do V-carving with all this, and I'll do only a 1/4 inch deep. I'm going to use I'm going to remove that, and I'll use a 90-degree V-bit, standard size one, just 1/2 inch overall. I'll set it at 100 inches per minute and select it. So I'm going to do a 90-degree V-bit, so it's going to have shoulders on it, but I'm going to clear out the bulk of this text to a 1/4 inch deep with a 1/4 inch end mill. And I'll tell it to ramp the plunge moves over 1 inch, usually 3-4 times the diameter of the tool, and just tell it to calculate. Didn't select the vectors because I had unselected them. So calculate it, and it's doing its magic. If you look down on the bottom left-hand corner, and I can tilt this over a little bit. And reset the preview and preview all. And so that's what we want it to look like. That's exactly right. So that's what it's going to look like when it's up hanging on the wall. But when I put that on the machine, if I were to do it right now and produce G-code, it will not fit, because the bottom left-hand corner, if we look in the 2D view, it'll show us the bottom left-hand corner is my orientation point. But then when I put this on the machine, this is my X. So my X would be looking to move that the material is 96 inches wide. My X on the machine, I can only machine 49 inches, give or take. So we need to rotate this. So the way to do this quickly is to just, what I do is I grab everything, and I'm going to go to the rotate tool, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees and apply it. Close it. I don't need to rotate any text or any vectors anymore. And then I'm going to go to my material and I'm going to rotate this. And this will be 48 by 96. Tell it OK. And then I want to take this text just like I did before, and I had it centered overall. Now I'm ready to send the G-code out to the machine. Now, if I'm standing, and the key is, if you're standing looking at the SmartBench, so this is me standing there. But when I home the machine, this is the way the machine looks. I'm just going to offset this inwards, say 3 inches. When I home the machine, and it does its magic, it's going to end up right here with the console right here. When I'm standing here looking at the SmartBench, it'll be in the 8-foot direction this way, 4-foot direction this way, 60 inches for roughly for the X-beam, and this is where the console will be. It's important that we be able to take this, and wherever it stops, that is what I use as a full panel material 00. Wherever it stops when I home the machine and it comes back toward this end of the console to sit here and wait, directly under the spindle, from there to here, I can get the 49 inches out of it. Now, if I have, for whatever reason, shifted my panel over some, and I'm a little further this way, I may have centered the material on the column, on the X-beam. It won't necessarily be able to travel the full amount that it's expecting to, that it's being called for, the 48 inches wide. So do it where you center the material. You center that corner of the material directly under the spindle. That's your perfect XY00. Then it will machine entirely this way, cut the entire edge. If you needed to chamfer this whole outside border or whatever, it could do it. And the same thing in the the Y direction. But it needs to be rotated. This is the way a full panel has to work in VCarve. This is my bottom left-hand corner of the material in VCarve. When I'm standing here looking at the machine, it's on the right-hand corner. Hopefully this will make sense, but this is important. And once you get the hang of it, it's not a big deal. It's very quick to rotate. So hopefully this makes sense to you. This is the way the panel needs to be set up in VCarve if I'm using a 4x8 sheet, locating it to the XY00 on the bottom left, which is this corner where that red dot, a red square is. That's the way the panel has to be set up. And if I put that corner directly under the spindle, the entire panel can be machined properly, and you won't get an out of bounds error. If you go to my YouTube channel, go to YouTube and search Yeti Tool Southeast, then search indexing jig. I show how to make an indexing jig that'll drop into the back of the legs here. That'll let you quickly slide a new panel on and index it properly, screw it down if you need to, whatever hold down method you want to use, and work from there. So hopefully this will get a new user up and running and understand that we have to rotate the panels. It's not difficult. It's only a few steps. Change it here in your material values and grab everything and rotate. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call me at 205-871-6618 or email me at sales@yetismartbench.com. Thanks.